Hello and welcome to a very hot and sweaty Green Umbrella live lunch this Thursday at 12 noon. It's okay, no one will know I've said that because of the whole delay thing, so it's absolutely fine. And do you know what? Since I've been in the office, I've been like looking down to my left, thinking, where's my bin? Well, I've just found it. It's just here. I've been here for about an hour trying to work out where the hell my bin was.
That's probably the most random introduction ever.
I got stuff tidied up on my desk. I was like, I'll go and find it because I was doing other things, going to find it. And
who's been messing with Christina's bin then? Hands up.
No, not me.
Do you know we're very particular about our bins? Like that's my bin.
Yeah.
There's several black bins in this office, but that's my black bin. Mark's bin is red.
So is mine.
Okay. Do you still have like staplers and hole punch in the office that people put their names on so they're not stolen?
Not names.
Jane has a name on a bin though.
I did write my name on my bin because people keep nicking it. It doesn't help though. People still nick it, even with my name on it.
And my name's not on it, but if people take my stapler and they don't it doesn't make me very happy. I used to have to share an office with someone, and he was. I mean, I'm messy, but this was like next level messy. And he'd steal my stapler all the time, and his desk was so messy. I'd be using a ruler or something to pick up bits of paper to look under to see if my stapler was there. It used to upset me so much. So if I go on holiday, I'd make sure I'd empty the stapler and hide all the staples. That's how bad it was.
Well, I think you should get therapy for that, Christina.
I just don't like sharing. That's all it is. So, obviously, we have a guest on this week's live lunch, the fantastic Paul Green of the business community, long-time live lunch stalker, and now what are we going to call you? Founder of the Ethical Awards?
Yeah, that sounds posh. Let's go with that.
That works, doesn't it? Founder of the Ethical Awards. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, Paul, give us a bit of an intro into, because no one's going to have heard of, other than people in your community and a few people in WhatsApp groups with me, no one's really going to have heard of the Ethical Awards. So give us the rundown.
Yeah, it's been a plan in the back of my mind since we rebranded, actually, to do an awards ceremony. Because what I've found in my experience of some awards, not all awards, is they don't seem to be fairly done, in my view. They can be biased, and it's almost like people are buying the award. And I went through a process recently. I kept getting these emails saying, you've been nominated. Okay, I'll play the game. I'll go and have a look and see what happens. And you go through this process. It seems to be reasonable. They ask reasonable questions about your business. Then it sort of said something along the lines, if you were to win an award, what would you call that award? So I thought, okay, I'll call myself the Business Community of the Year. So I put that in, sent off the application. About a month later, surprise, surprise, I'd won the award. I was Business Community of the Year. I'm thinking, okay, that's a little bit odd. And then then if I paid them £350, then I would get my trophy, I'd get my certificate, I'd get an article in a magazine, etc., etc., etc. And I just thought, for most businesses out there, it's an unfair playing field. So what I decided to do, also spurred on by a bit of a ranty post that Stephen Mather had put on, because he has a similar view for some of these awards as well. And Stephen is now the overall sponsor of the event, so he's fully behind it. I just thought, yeah, let's do this. Let's sort of see what happened. Let's get it out there. So the idea is that anybody can enter themselves. You just sort of put yourself in for it. So there's none of this nominating stuff. You can just put yourself in for the award yourself. There's 10 categories. I can go through those in a minute. And it's as fair as it can be, to the point where the judges won't actually see who the applicants are. And by that I mean the name of the business, the name of the person, anything that identifies that person within the application will be redacted. So the judges are purely looking at, here are the criteria, here are the answers, mark out of 5, top up the numbers from all the judges. The one that gets the most points wins. It's as simple as that. And also, there's no obligation we're not having a formal ceremony, we're having a virtual ceremony, because often these things can be quite expensive for business, where you're obliged to go to the ceremony and fork out your 70, 80, 100 quid, whatever it is. And some of these award schemes, you have to be at the ceremony in order to be eligible for the award. So as a more like the Oscars, if the actor can't make the awards but wins, they still get the award. So, I'm just trying to make it as fair as possible and as easy as possible to stand a chance of actually winning an ethical award.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. It's all the associated costs that make it, I'll say, untenable. Is that the right word? I don't know.
Yeah,
But it is a real back. Like we've got something coming up, and we're looking at, we were booking hotel rooms and that kind of stuff. And Jane said to me, are you sure you want to spend all this money on this? And it's like, right, well, here are all the benefits of going.
Yeah.
But with an award, when it comes to buying your table, then even once you've bought the table, it's brilliant. You get to eat. There's probably going to be a opportunity to get on the dance floor, but everyone still needs an orange juice, lemonade, or a Diet Coke. There's travel. I said the hotels as well. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it. So there's that bit of it as well. Time out the business more often than not, because it's not usually somewhere convenient. And it's like, actually, you're looking at the investment for the chance of winning, but then you've got all this extra cost on top. And it is, I said, for a long time, we haven't done anything in terms of awards. The awards we've won to date have been within closed communities.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes that bit away from it. It's a bonus on top of everything else, rather than being like that. This is the main attraction.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to. Well, we only launched it a couple of weeks ago. We've had about a dozen applicants so far, and we're just on that journey now of pushing it out there and letting people know, hey, we're here. And the way that the only cost associated with it, there is an entrance fee, so it's £25 to enter the awards, because there's going to be a fair bit of admin, collating all the things, sticking it in front of the judges, etc., etc. But that's all you pay. You get a free ticket to the virtual award ceremony for the person that applies. You can buy more tickets if you want to, but that's the only upfront cost. And also, just to make it fair, because I've been to award ceremonies where there's only one person in the category, and funny enough, they become the winner. Well, it's a little bit, again, I don't think that's a proper award if you're the only one in the category. So our criteria is that there needs to be a minimum of 3 in each category. And then also, we're not going to have 20 finalists. We might have 20 applicants for a category, but we'll whittle that down to 5 finalists, just so it's a manageable thing, and it's not a crazy thing that's just about generating revenue. It's more about just having it be, as I said earlier, a level playing field, so people can compete equally for any category they enter.
So there's 10 categories.
There are.
So Mark, Nicole, Jane, have you looked at these categories already?
Had a quick
I had a brief look, yeah.
So
yeah.
what do you reckon we should go in for then?
The Green Award.
Not sure it's our type of green. Just wearing green clothes might not win us that one.
Yeah, no. What other ones were there? There was the business.
Yeah, shall I list them?
Business ones?
Yeah, growth team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's business person, there's business person, young business, small business, growth business, innovation, customer service, team, employer, technology, and green. They're the basic headings. And in each of those categories, we've already put out the criteria so people know what they're going to be judged against. And then there's a couple of catch-all questions that sort of says, is there anything else you'd like to put in your application to further your chance of winning? And, why should you win the award over somebody else? So it gives people, a fair bit of scope. And it's not a big, long-winded process. There's only about half a dozen questions you have to answer. You've not got to write War and Peace to apply, so it's quite simple and straightforward to put yourself in. And most of the applicants at the moment just covers a couple of pages in terms of the entrance that we've got, so it's not a lot of stuff to have to do to put your application in.
I think that's the other thing as well. You sort of end up it's a bit like applying for bids and tenders, isn't it? You put all this effort in producing this document and divulging information you don't actually really want to share with the outside world and that kind of stuff. So I think that's another barrier that's just been taken away with the ethical awards. I just wanted to go over some of the categories, because obviously, like, you know, business person is quite, you know, you could make a lot of assumptions in terms of, you know, what you're looking for in that, and that's the category we're sponsoring. So, but then looking at some of the other ones, so young business, like what is a young business? How would you quantify that?
So we're specifying young as less than 3 years old, just as an arbitrary number, I guess, to have. And then again, we're just looking at, you know, that business track record. What challenges have they had to overcome? You know, have they had any customer feedback that, you know, they can make themselves credible in terms of, you know, their success? We look at the values and motivations. So they're the headline things that we're looking at from that business. But ultimately, it's just going to be the, you know, the judgment of the judges, how they compare those businesses, how the person answers it, and what they deem to be important as well. You know, so from your point of view as sponsoring the business person, you've probably got some ideas of what you would look for, because each of the category sponsors judge the category as well, along with the 6 overall judges. So yeah, you will have some ideas about, you know, what you would recognise from a person putting themselves forward for business person of the year, if that makes sense. So yeah, so the judges will have their own ideas of what they're looking for as well.
And then the other two I was going to put, so one of my issues with awards is sometimes, like, you look at the title, you look at the criteria, you just think, oh God, you know, have we done anything that's like big or bold enough to fit that category? So I thought it was quite interesting. You got innovation and technology split out as 2 separate awards.
Yeah, because the reason we separated that out is I don't think innovation necessarily have to involve technology. So, you know, an organisation might have had an innovative marketing campaign or advertising campaign or something like that, which doesn't necessarily involve the use of technology. Whereas another business might not be that innovative, but they might be using technology to further their productivity or further their profit or those types of things. So yeah, it's a subtle. Oh, did I upset somebody? Was it something I said? Sorry if I was boring you, Nicole. So that you know, there is a difference there, I think, in terms of what innovation can look like. You're muted,
Oh,
Christina.
Christina, you're muted.
It's because I've got the windows open and stuff keeps driving past. It's really loud, and I'm just like, it's like picking up on the microphone. So like there's been stuff before, like entrepreneur awards. Quite often it's like new entrepreneur, but what they're really meaning is new business. So like I would fall under the criteria as a new entrepreneur, but the business is 12 years old. So it's like I don't actually fit although I fit the criteria, I'm disqualified at the same time. So I really liked that those two were split out, because it's a similar kind of thing. I've seen innovation awards before asking about what tech has been used as part of the innovation. And it's like, well, yeah, we didn't. It's what we did with what we've got that was innovative, rather than bringing new stuff in.
I think the other thing to point out as well, which I've not seen with some of the award schemes out there, is because when I went through the process a few years back, it wasn't successful. So I went back to the organisation and said, "Oh, could you give me feedback about, you know, if you like, where I failed or what part of my application didn't work?" And never got anything. Possibly because, you know, there wasn't actually a formal, proper process by which the categories were being judged. I don't know. So again, we've got the option to feedback to people. So if they don't become a finalist, if they don't get to win, we can sort of let them know from what the judges' feedback is about areas that they can improve. So next year, when we do it, you know, that they'll know the areas they need to improve. So I think that's a value, you know, a value add. So you can actually know where you could improve and be better. So yeah, so that's something else that we're offering as well.
Cool. And are you going to go the shortlist, finalist, winner route, or are you just going to, like, you win it or you don't?
No.
That doesn't sound very nice the way I said that then, does it?
No.
But you know what I mean.
No, it's worth saying as well, there's no geographic limitations open to anybody. So it's not just a Northamptonshire or East Midlands thing. Anybody in the UK can enter their business, their company, themselves into any of the categories. So The way I see it is, if there's more than 5 people that apply for a category, then we will have to sort of shortlist it down to 5. So probably what I'll do then is get the category sponsor involved with that to judge, which 5 go to be a finalist. So there will be 5 finalists, and then those 5 finalists will be judged by all the judges to actually assess, which is the overall winner. And we'll just have one winner, one runner-up, and then obviously the rest are finalists. That's the way we're setting it up, really.
Brilliant. So, why is it that people want awards? What's the benefit of having them?
Is that to me, or is that to your team?
Just to everyone.
well, it's a kudos thing, isn't it? If you say you're award winning, I think it does have a certain ring to it, and it does, compel people to think, okay, well, there must be something special about this company versus a competitor that's not award winning. So I think it's good from a credibility point of view, but like I say, it's if it's ethical in my view, I'm not gonna start calling myself award winning because I've been randomly given the business community of the year. It's just not ethical for me to go and say that, because I know I've effectively paid for it if I go ahead, and that's not how awards should be. So generally it is a good marketing ploy. I know there are organisations out there that's part of their marketing strategy is to apply and enter awards. Just so they've got that I guess a badge of honour to an extent, that to say that that's what they're doing. They're trying to sort of say to the world that they are, award worthy of an award.
Absolutely. Mark, what are your feelings on it?
Yeah, I suppose it's a bit like Paul said, there's a kudos to it. So it's always nice to get that recognition, especially if it's something that's been judged or voted for, properly, like Paul says. So I think, it gives people that bit of reassurance from a marketing point of view as well. So, if you see something on, bottom of the website, right, okay, won an ethical award, someone might then have a look at that. How did they win that? And it gives it a little bit of sort of reassurance on that it's actually something legit and, worth actually displaying there. So, it's good.
Jane, do you, you're quite a savvy shopper, aren't you? So do you look at stuff like awards and things? Do you think people take that into consideration?
Depends on what it is, really. I mean, I was just thinking about, you sort of get the gold awards that you get on food and wine and things like that. I do pay attention to those because I think that, to be fair, I've never actually looked into the background of whether those people pay for those. I've assumed that they're actually ethical and that someone actually goes and looks at these things and judges them properly. But they're probably the only ones I really look at, because it's like you said, if they're not meaningful, you see too many of them that don't really have a meaning, do they? They're just like, oh yeah, we've won website of the year, but what was it judged against? What was it, did they pay for it? And I think there's so many of them that you tend to tune them out. But I think, like I said, the ones on food and stuff, I do actually look at. If it's a gold star or winning food, I think, oh, that must be good.
I think this is the thing. It's like once people don't really look to see where they come from. There's an assumption that it means something, isn't there, from the outside world, which is why we should, be aiming to get some. But I think picking and choosing what you have is really important. There's a lot out there where it is you are just buying it, and it's whoever's got the biggest budget will get the award. They're the ones that don't. There are a lot of those sort of in the UK entrepreneurship world, in the recruitment sector as well. There's a few of those, so it is tricky. It's tricky knowing what is ethical and what isn't. I think, especially when you're first starting looking at these, because you have to, but you can't expect to not pay anything. It's the admin side of it. I mean, just things like putting the website together, deciding. I mean, how much time have you put into this already, Paul? Just getting it launched?
Oh yes, it's quite an effort. I put together the website myself just to get something out there, and it's not perfect. It's not the best website in the world, but it's there, and people are applying through it. So it's doing the job, and we're revamping it as we go forward and just adding things to it. So yeah, and I'm doing daily activity to sort of try and spread the word, because that's the key really, is just to push out there. So I appreciate you letting me to spout on about it through this mechanism. So yeah, I think it's that's the challenge now. So daily I'm doing something. I'm sharing a social media post, or I'm emailing someone, or just sort of sending them a message on LinkedIn, whatever it might be, just to make them aware. And the feedback's been positive. You know, people have said they're going to take a look. Some people have come back and asked various questions like, which category do you think I should enter, because they're not quite sure which category. So I'm thinking all of them, because that gets 3 entrance fees rather than 1. But again, I've been ethical and suggested, you know, which one would maybe be the best for them. So yeah, so it is going to take a bit of work, but obviously it's the first year that we're doing it. So hopefully, you know, it will get some traction. It will get some interest, and it will become an annual event going forward. That's the cunning plan.
Yeah. Well, what's the deadline for submissions?
So it's 5th of September. So we're only about a month away, and then the actual award ceremony will be on the 6th of September. So it gives the judges a month effectively to go through the applications and come up with a winner.
Brilliant. And there's no plans at all to do like a physical get together?
Not this time round, no. It might be something that we will do in the future, but I thought just to keep it simple for now and not have all the aggro of trying to find a venue and fill a venue and you know, charge people whatever it is. You know, because some of these award ceremonies are really, really good. You know, I've been to some, and they are worth the money, I would say. You know, the last one I went to, the food was really nice. There was entertainment there, so it was worth, I think, the 70 odd quid that I paid. So yeah, we're not doing that, because I think that's just too much at the moment. And I appreciate people out there might like to doll up and get their frocks on and get their DJs on and do all that. I do appreciate that, but like I say, because they're UK wide, it will be difficult to choose a location to let you know, UK wide business could come to. So again, that's part of the reason for not doing a physical, just having a virtual one.
Yeah. And is there, you know, is there kind of like a vision in terms of where you'd like this to go to?
Well, I'd like it to try and shift the way that people see awards, I guess, because of the ones that I believe are not ethical. They're just entirely commercial organisations. Nothing wrong with that. Well done, guys. You know, you set up a business model that works for you. So yeah, hopefully people will start to. Those that don't trust in these awards will start to see that there are some like mine, and I'm not just the only one. There are other. I've looked at other award schemes out there that adopt a similar philosophy. So yeah, it's just trying to clean up that space, I guess, on one level. Hence it being called the ethical awards. And hopefully, as Jane said, you know, because an ethical awards is in it, people might think, well, what's the difference between the other awards then? And take a look and you know, realise that some are bought awards, but some are genuinely earned. Because the other thing we're avoiding as well is, you know, when you put yourself forward or you're nominated and then it's a vote, it's a public vote. Well, really, that's just, you know, whoever's got the best reach on social media or the biggest email database is going to win that award. So it's like, you know, that's not fair either, because it doesn't mean you're the best. It just means you've got enough people in your network that will vote for you. So, so yes, again, we've steered away from that. So it will always be a judged thing. It will always be, you know, a panel of judges that are assessing each applicant on its merits.
Excellent. So what advice have we got then for people in terms of how to, you know, so they've made a submission into Ethical Awards.
Yep.
They get the message from you, Paul, to say they've been shortlisted.
Yep.
So I guess this is probably me putting Mark and Jane on the spot more than anything else.
Incoming, guys, incoming.
Yeah. So how do we maximise on this? How do we get the most out of it?
I think, I don't know, I was just thinking about, obviously, no matter whether you win or you're shortlisted or whatever, obviously it's in the business's interest to promote it for the fact that, like you say, it's being judged and things like that, and it is different to some of those other awards. So obviously you want to be shouting about that from a sort of social media point of view, even during the process, really, because you're just you know, exacerbating what you've just been saying, really. So yeah, that's the sort of important thing for me, and especially I think for the winners, you know, you know, it's like, say for example, you win, you presumably you can use a logo or something, normal things on the website, etc. Obviously that can then link out, but obviously if you're telling the story about how you've won the award, you can explain that it has got a bit more to it than a lot of the other awards that are just, you know, just drop of a hat type thing. So I think that's the important thing for me.
Yeah, so in the application process, people do get a badge, if you like, to download that they can use to say they've entered it. And a couple of people I've seen on social media have used that and said, "Look, we're in these awards." So again, it is just that really. It's trying to get that wave of you know, presence on social media, particularly because that's obviously a good way to reach out to people. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. And then I'll encourage. So at the moment, I'm just looking to get new people interested, and I'll go back to the applicants and say, you know, have you got your badge? Are you using it? Do you need any help to push it out there? Just to encourage them to do that as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think the fact that you're making the feedback available as well is really good, because it's one thing to say I won this award, and another thing to say I won this award, and these are the reasons why I won it, and actually being able to quote that feedback and say, like, again, it gives more context around it, and it's the credibility of those people that have judged you to be worthy of that award. You know, I think that's really, really valuable. Like Jane, in terms of sort of the social media side of things, like what kind of things spring into mind for you in terms of how to promote this?
Well, like you said, I mean, sharing it generally, the shows that you've entered, like I said, it makes you look like you're worthy of entering yourself, or that you think you are. And also, like you said, other people will see it. They'll see, like you said, the word ethical in it and think, oh, what's that? Because you don't see that. So I think the fact you've got that word in there is really good. And yeah, hopefully us sharing it as being a judge as well, a sponsor, sorry, and people in our network will see it, and hopefully they will also think, oh yeah, ethical awards, etc. I mean, I've just shared it on my own personal LinkedIn this morning as well, actually, to try out the new link sticker thing on LinkedIn. I thought that's a good way of trying that out and promoting that. So and yeah, I mean, I've got people I worked with before that are nothing to do with this now who potentially could enter this as well. So I think, yeah, sharing it on a personal level as well as sharing it as a business is a really good way of getting it out there.
And I think the other thing is you know, there's a lot of people out there that well, most businesses have customers. You might have customers that you think there's a really great customer, maybe they should enter this. So I thought about this the other day. So I might actually put like a nominate button on each of the categories, because it may be that someone goes to the site, doesn't think it's for them, but thinks one of their customers or clients would be a great person. So yes, I'm thinking of actually doing a nominate thing. So that wasn't the initial thoughts, but yeah, it might be that people think, yeah, I've got a great customer that does a really good job or is really innovative or whatever. So that's another ploy really, is just to have people think about, is there any of your customer base that you think deserves to win an award in any of the 10 categories? So that's the next phase, I think, for me.
Excellent. I think this is the other thing as well. It's also, especially when you get to that point where there's shortlists being publicised, that kind of stuff, is actually like what marketing activities can you do with the other people that are shortlisted? So maybe you're shortlisted for one award and someone else is shortlisted for another, but there's some synergy there in terms of your audiences, like doing something like this together, sort of, having a conversation over the fact that you've both been shortlisted, what the award's about, why you deserve to win as well. It's celebratory of someone else whilst also banging your own drum. And I think we all struggle to, some people struggle more than most, i.e. me, when it comes to kind of going, hey, look, I'm awesome. But, I think trying to find those strategies, but also post-award as well. What can, you could, for example, like let's say we win an award, we get Paul on again and we do something else and we talk about actually that category. We talk about the other kinds, the other, the attributes of the other people that were in it to win it, that were shortlisted, of course, why we come out on top and that kind of thing. But it's that, like I said, there's so much opportunity from a marketing perspective, the email campaigns you can do, throw in your own little invite-only party that maybe you're inviting some of your clients to celebrate your success. There's a bunch of things that you can do around it. It's not just getting that award on the day.
definitely.
Yeah, I'm not in post mode yet. I'm very much in. Let's get it. Because the other thing as well is, often on some award site you see in advance who's actually in the category as a finalist. Well, of course, I can't do that. Otherwise, it doesn't become blind anymore, does it? Because the judges can go and see who's in it. So I've got to keep that under my hat until after the ceremony. And then obviously I can push it out there and say, these are the finalists. And again, once I've got that social media fodder, then going forward post, then I can start, acknowledging the people that are the finalists, acknowledging the winner, with everybody being in a Zoom world now. I could interview the winners and the finalists and go through it. So there's a number of different options post, certainly, but focus is on getting there for now.
Yeah, because I'm already thinking about, obviously, like in lockdown we saw a lot of people doing online award ceremonies and that sort of stuff as well. So I think there's I was going to start talking about like how you might handle that and what ideas you've got, but based on what you've just said, it would really seem like I wasn't listening if I did that at this point.
Yeah. No, there was a really good, I think it was All Things Business who do an annual award, and theirs had to be virtual, I think last year or whatever. And I didn't go to the event, but I saw some post stuff shared on social media, and I think they did it really, really well. The guy that was leading, I think it was Ben Thomas that was leading, it was all DJ'd up, and I think that encouraged other people to DJ up as well, which we could do for our virtual thing. You could dress up and come to the virtual thing. That's absolutely fine. And it was just really well managed as a virtual event. Obviously, I don't know whether they had any pomp and ceremony or stuff in between other than just doing the awards, but it looked like they made a really great effort to still try and have that ambience of an award ceremony, albeit it had to be, everybody at home. But it looked really good. I think everybody had that I saw dolled themselves up just to do this award, even though they're probably in their dining room or their lounge or wherever they might have been. So yes, I think you can do sort of certain stuff. I guess I haven't thought about that, but it might be. Say if you want to dress up, because then feel free.
Yeah, I think we saw some of the recruitment awards where they were almost like posting out an event pack. So there were things within, so you see this sort of like mini hamper, if you like, and there were things within it that you needed to open at certain points in the evening.
Yeah.
So, and stuff like that. So even though you're at home, it still added a little bit of ceremony to things. I'm not suggesting you go to that extreme, by the way, but like I said, it's quite cool. Some of the stuff that was seen, like even like the envelopes that you would open at certain points. So obviously you can't help it if people take a sneak peek or whatever. But yes, stuff like that was pretty cool.
No, it's a good idea. I mean, Chris Lambert, who tunes into these sometimes, Data Centre sponsoring. I think they're sponsoring the innovation category actually, and he's disappointed that he's not got a dinner, so he's expecting me to send him a Just Eat voucher so he can start buying his dinner. Right? It's like, okay, Chris, I don't think that's going to happen, mate. So hang on in there for that.
Send him a branded like microwave meal or something.
Yes.
But that going forward, of course, I've got that could be done. You could send a meal voucher to somebody. Obviously, you've got to build that into the costs of being part of it. But that is an idea. It wouldn't be too difficult to do. Actually, it's a digital world, isn't it? An email, a voucher, job done sort of thing. So it's not. But I do like the idea of that type of thing because it keeps the engagement, doesn't it? It keeps people tuned in if they've got to go through a couple of steps or open an envelope or open a parcel. So yes, certainly for the future, that's something I'll look at. But obviously, we're a new thing, so we're just sort of finding our way through it. So like I say, that if we can get the interest, if we can get the applicants, that's great. And then next year, you build on that, don't you? Make it bigger and better and look at the different categories. 10 just seemed a nice round number. It's an arbitrary number, but when I was coming up to them, I thought, I've got 10, stick at that. That'll do nicely. Thank you very much. And I want to say, thanks to you, Christina, and the other sponsors and judges, because after me knocking at the website over a weekend, within 2 days, I got all the sponsors and judges lined up. So, that was really great that you could see that part of my vision and the other people involved could see part of the vision as well. That, that wasn't a struggle. That was all pretty much done and dusted within the first 2 days of sort of launching the idea. So, so that was the foundations there. Now it's just building on that, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the things I wanted to touch upon, which is us basically just giving a bit of a, not a shout out to the judges, but again, some of these awards, when you look at who's judging them, there may be people who their feet are not on the ground, like they're not in the thick of it. Do you know what I mean? It's that when I think of like some of the big, like, you know, so Lloyd's and Barclays, they both do sort of annual business awards. When you look at the judging panels, it's like, you know, these are like super successful people, but they're not really getting their hands dirty on a daily basis, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I like, one of the things I like about this, which I think adds to the ethical factor. I don't know what the right word is, because it's like ethic. What's the extension to ethic? The ethicalness of the awards is the fact that the judges they're all people, they're active in their business. They are doing this stuff on a daily basis. So I think it'd be quite good to just sort of talk around who the sort of lead judges are.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, happy to do
and
that.
why you've selected them.
Yeah, well, happy to do that. So yeah, that they are all, you know, in the trenches, fighting the good fight every day. And so what I tried to do is pick people that I thought would be willing to give this a punt alongside me, to be honest. People that I knew that were established in business and have got a lot of experience. And you know, I tried to think about having as diverse a selection of judges as I could, given the criteria. So just run through it. So we've got Julie Futcher from the Sales Ace. She's got over 25 years experience in the sort of sales industry. Stephen Mather was a sort of obvious choice because it was his rant that started part of this journey off. So I thought, well, let's see if he's going to jump in to this again. He's got a lot of experience of working with small businesses. Marie-Louise O'Neill. A little story there from Lovely Evolution. That the story there was because she's judging the young business category. So she said, "Why did you give me that?" And I said, "Because you were the youngest of the judges." So I just thought it made sense to give that category to you, which, you know, got a few brownie points for me. So she's quite flattered with that. So yeah, so she jumped in. Roger Eddowes from Essendon Accounts and Tax. So that sort of like brings a finance element into it. Marie Richardson of Tom Rom Team Coaching, and Ashish Kumar of Web Alliance. So again, if you look at those judges, you can go and look at it on the website. The one that's going across in the ticker tape /judges, but pretty much I think I've got all pillars of business covered there. So if you look at finance, sales, marketing, operations, resources, strategy, you know, pretty much those people are covering all of that. So I guess holistically, when they're looking at each of the applicants in each of the categories, they can bring their bias, if you like, from that point of view, you know, to sort of look at, you know, Roger will be looking at, I guess, any finance elements of it. Ma is more of a strategist and a coach and team player, so she'll be looking at those elements. So it was trying to think of that, the balance of not just having the same type of people, you know, all sales and marketing people, for example. Hopefully I've got a reasonable balance of that. And then again, when I was looking at the sponsors, it was trying to think again, who would give it a punt, what would be the right person to judge that particular category, hence, you know, me allocating you business person. You know, I think given your experience and the things you're involved in, I think you'd be great to you know, to contribute to that. So yeah, that was the thinking behind it, and I'm pleased to say that they all went for it. So
it's good. It's good. Cool. Okay, so Jane, Mark, have you got any questions for Paul around the ethical awards? Anything we haven't covered?
No, I mean, one of mine was going to be about obviously the geographical thing, but obviously you've covered that. So it's, you know, obviously nationwide, no limitations to sort of our local area and stuff, which is good. So that was going to be one of mine, but you answered that in full flow anyway.
Same with me, really. Because I was going to sort of ask about the feedback part. So obviously you're feeding back to the win. I didn't realise it was the winners as well. I thought you were only feeding back to the people who had lost out.
Well,
I love that you're feeding back to the winner as well.
I didn't realise I was feeding back to the winners till Christina told me I was.
But I You said feedback's going to be available for everyone. So
Well, it potentially is, but when I first thought about it, I thought, because if you win it, you got the glory, you've got all the euphoria, so that's fine. So it hadn't occurred to me that necessarily they would want to get feedback because they're top of the tree. However, if you're a runner-up or a finalist, I thought yes, you'd like to know, as I did when I went through the process. I'd like to know what I could have done better. So yes, the winner can have feedback, as to what it is, but I think more the way it's set up at the moment is the feedback from the judges. Good feedback to finalists. What the judge is going to do is what stood out from this candidate and what could they do better. So you could go to the finalists and say, look, this is what stood out. This is part of what had you win, and they can see the score sheets if they want to, and give that feedback. So that's open to anybody. We're not hiding anything. But yeah, I hadn't thought of the finalists. So yeah, that's another thing to do on the list.
yeah, but I'm like, if you can, I just noticed something funny. I'll share that with you in a minute because it's distracting me. The thing is, if the finalists have got this feedback from you as well, if they've got a quote from you when they're shouting about their awards and they're quoting you, there's a link back to the ethical awards. This is the stuff that's going to help you grow it further and further going into the future. So it's like, that's your marketing right there.
No, I get it. Absolutely get it. Yeah. And you know a little bit about marketing, so I should listen to you, really, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
I like the fact, actually, because on your video, you've said about integrity. And I think that's one of the really big things in this. And actually, I think your choice of judges and why, and also your feedback, that really feeds into these being the integrity there in these awards. So I really like that.
Yeah, I mean the stumbling block initially with some of the sponsors and judges as well was this £25 entrance fee. And it's like, well, aren't they buying the award then? And I said, well, no, it's purely an admin thing. This isn't going to earn me thousands of pounds by doing this. The intent isn't to have it be a massive revenue generator, but obviously I've got to cover the costs of me setting this up and the administrative stuff, etc., etc. And I've tried to keep it affordable. And so, yeah, there was a little bit of a wobble with some people thinking, does that get away from the ethicality of it, ethicalness of it? I love G. Lunch, new word.
Yeah, what is that word?
I don't know. Somebody stick it in the chat or stick it in the comments. So, so that was, part of it, really.
Yeah, no, I like it. And this is the thing, when a lot of people are talking about integrity, it's like it's like when someone says, I really don't want to offend you, but
yeah, something's coming.
yeah. It's like when someone talks about being like working within integrity, you're like, what should I be watching out for? But I think this is one of the very few cases where there's there isn't anything. And I think so what people don't know in the background is that from the point you kind of got all the sponsors and judges on board, you've created a little group chat, we'll describe it as.
Yeah.
And you've been putting stuff in there as you move forward. So you're getting real-time feedback from people and making decisions on that. So anything that might crop up that might not be in line with these values of being ethical and having integrity around the awards, you've got that kind of sounding board, if you like, to go, wait, hold on a minute. And I don't know whether this was intentional or not, but it's like nobody gets that group of people together in one chat. And not, and people in that group are not going to stay quiet if they think there's something that is outside of the values of this. So yeah, whether that was intentional or not, I think that's quite a brave thing to do.
Well, I just, or stupid. Fine line between bravery and stupidity, isn't it? No, I just thought, emails get lost, emails going back and forth, and then you get the whole reply all thing, and that sort of gets a bit cluttery. So I thought, let's just create a WhatsApp group for the sponsors and judges, so I can keep them abreast with the progress of what's going on, with the stuff that I create. I just sort of give them the link, so it's easy for them to share that on their social media platform. Kevin kindly put the video together, so we've got that as some stuff to use as well. So yeah, it's just really keeping the momentum going. I think it was fine in the first week. There was a flurry of activity, and then all of a sudden there's been a little bit of a lull. But really, it's got to be daily every other day, weekly, to sort of get this, have a presence out there. So that's the challenge really, is just to sort of keep the wheels turning and trying to get people on the bus with me to keep their wheels turning, because, you know, I can't just rely on my reach, my social media, my email database. I've got to rely on other people's reach as well to sort of get the news out there. So yeah, it's what I primarily talk about at other networking groups that I go to. So I'm just focusing on that right now. So the business community is sort of like on a back burner right now, because I realise, you know, we've only got a month to go to sort of get this thing cohesive and get it going.
Yeah, and it's all part of it, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's, you know, it's about hopefully increasing, you know, doing this is also going to help increase the reach of the business community as well, because that's your full-time thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's bonuses all along the way.
Hope so.
Cool. Okay. Well, obviously this is going out on our social media channels talking about it. We've had Ruella over on LinkedIn asked for the link so that she can share it with some of her clients in the rec to rec space, which is part of the recruitment world. But yeah, anyone else, like I've put the link into the comments. I'll have to go into LinkedIn and do that separately. Go in, apply. Like I said, this is here on our channels now. It's going to be going out in our email. So if you forget to do it, look out for your email on Friday morning. It will be in there as well. And like I say, go and have a look, go and have a nosy around the categories. It's really clear in terms of what's required on the website. I think that like every business would be able to identify at least one of those 10 categories. And at £25 an entry, it's pretty low risk. I think even businesses that have perhaps, you know, been struggling a little bit over the last few months, but have still kept in business, you know, kept ticking over and the rest of it. This could be a really good thing for you to do to help you sort of have that marketing push forward again and have people pay attention to you. When you jump up on social media and say, I've won an award, like people pay attention. So it's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to do. And I think of all the options out there, this is the one to do it with. Otherwise, we wouldn't be supporting it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for sponsoring and thanks for the opportunity today. I'll revert to my normal stalker-like self in a week's time.
Absolutely. So those of you that have joined us live, thank you very much. I'm sorry, Jane and Mark have been so quiet today. I did try and like prod them every now and then, but there you go. I probably should have prepped them better. It's my fault. I take responsibility. But we'll be back next Thursday for the next Green Umbrella Live Lunch, Thursday at 12 noon, live on my LinkedIn, on YouTube and on our Facebook page. I will see you all very soon. Bye for now. Give you a little wave, get our weekly screenshot. Come on, Paul, wave for the screenshot. There you go. Paul hates waving on camera. It's this thing he's got. Thanks, everyone.